I do have another suggestion for you. There are legal aid organizations that can give you some assistance. These legal aid organizations are most adept at representing tenants in unlawful detainer actions. They really, really know what they're doing. They may be best at that than anything else. I suggest that you contact the local legal aid organization and ask for help. Tell them what's going on. Tell them everything that you told us, because, as Steve says, there are some defenses there for you. But I think you have a right and an opportunity here to pursue for your protection.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You still won two. You still got 2 tickets for dinner at our choice at Barney's Beanery. Just call the 800 number
after 5.
After 5
today.
And leave your name and address and tell them you won 2 tickets for Barney's Beanery, and they'll send it out to you. Okay?
Okay. I think she says yes.
Well, I think so.
Yes, I think so too. Interesting, but you know what? The reason
and none of this we talked about applies to commercial leases, because they can say and do almost anything in terms of taking the rent, not taking the rent. We're talking about, this was a residential lease, so we're talking about a residential
right. But
lease.
if she's been told, I don't know if she has a lease now or if it's month to month. It doesn't. I'm not sure that it matters particularly for purposes of answering this question. But if she's been told that she can pay a little bit late, and she pays a little bit late, then she may actually have a very good defense. She may be there for years to come.
So let me ask you this
Go ahead.
situation. I work on a job, and I use the company computer.
Yes.
And I'm talking to my lawyer back and forth.
Yes.
And the company has a policy that says the computer is a company's computer, and any information back and forth, any emails, etc., on the computer
yes.
Are subject to being looked at by the company.
Yes.
Are they violating my attorney-client privilege when the company goes in and finds the information and then suddenly uses it against me?
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say that you have your attorney come to your office and you invite your supervisor in to watch the conversation between you and your attorney. Have you waived your attorney-client privilege in that way?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so, too.
And there's a recent court case saying that there's no privilege using a business computer where they have a written policy saying that they can monitor it. So I'd be real careful. Instead of playing your video games, you shouldn't be writing to your lawyer on the company computer, because that material is really not privileged. You can search. It's sort of like searching a cigarette pack. You can search a cigarette pack today, or a cell phone.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's as a general proposition, it's a good idea to if you're sending out an email, I think you should make the assumption that more than the recipient's going to read it. I think just as a general, particularly if you're at your place of work.
What happened to the old write a letter situation? I mean,
yeah, it's pretty hard to intercept it's harder to intercept a letter. And it's also a violation of federal law to intercept a letter that's not directed to you. But as far as emails are concerned,
it's the post office and you work for the post office, etc. Lots of problems.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, indeed.
All right, so you're all look like a stuffed shirt with your suit and tie on. Why are you all dressed up?
I had a hearing this morning. Why are you all dressed up?
I had a hearing this morning.
Well, then we had hearings this. We were actually practicing law out in public today. That's pretty cool.
You know, I had the fortunate experience to go to a couple of the inaugurations up in Sacramento.
Yes. And
I know there were great, deep financial times, but I just saw a survey on American what Americans are thinking about. There was that 65% of them want to cut, but 65% don't want to pay more taxes. So
I understand that completely, I guess.
Now, I understand we have another call. Let's go to it.
We do, but we're going to take a break. So
why don't you tell the caller that we'll be right back?
I think that's a good idea. Caller, we're going to be right back. We're going to take your call first. Everybody else is on hold. Stay on hold because we're going to take you in the order that you came in. And if you want to call now during the break, 1-800-405-4222, and we'll see you in just a minute. Okay, Legal Help Live. We are back from our break. We said we'd come back, and we did. You're asking legal questions. You're calling us at 1-800-405-4222. That's the toll-free number. And Steve and I promised that we would go immediately to the phone, so shall we?
Yeah, let's do it. And those of you who are on hold, please wait on hold. This is a good time to call in. We've got a couple of lines open. The number's on the screen, and we'll try and take your calls. So let's go.
Okay,
let's go back to the phones.
Mrs. E, come on in.
Okay. Hi, Ralph.
How are you?
And Steve. Okay.
I'm waving at you.
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you do with personnel that are working out of classification on your job? Do I have any legal, Matt, I can do anything with that?
So
they're working in my area, but they're working out of their class.
Okay, do you work for the government? Some government?
How did you know?
Because classifications are usually government kind of jobs.
Yes, I do, but...
okay, so in most cities or the state, there's a personnel board, and there are rules and regulations that you can only work out of class a certain period of time. And what sometimes they try and replace you with lower paid people. I mean, there are all kinds of problems. Are you a member of any union?
Yes, but it's the sheriff's department, and they kind of go by their own rules.
Well, let me tell you, I've had some dealings with the sheriff's department years ago in terms of. Are you non-sworn or are you sworn?
No, I'm non-sworn, but it's basically the sworn personnel.
Okay, well, the sworn personnel have a pretty strong association of deputy sheriffs, and they're pretty active in policing this thing. That's kind of a pun. And if you're a member of a union, and there's a memorandum of understanding in effect, which there probably is, it's like a contract. There are provisions for grievances and things that you can do. So you need to actually sit down with your union and talk about this, your union rep, and see if you can file a grievance. It may end up in arbitration, which could be binding on this situation, or ultimately in a lawsuit. But there's lots of cases over working out